So to close off the year of 2023, I'm going to do a Q&A where I answer your questions that you asked me on Instagram or YouTube. Before we get into that, if you're looking for a watch, you can check out our website at karatco.com. We're authorized retailers for over 20 different watch brands located in Flushing, Queens, New York. And if you have time and you'd like to, please stop by our store so you can check out what we have in stock. But all right, let's just go straight into the questions. So the first question, what is the rule of thumb for service intervals of automatic or mechanical watches? So when you buy a new watch, you'll get an instruction manual and it'll tell you in there that you should service your watch between 5 to 7 years if it's a time only or time with date. If your watch has a complication such as a chronograph, they might recommend 2 to 3 years. And if your watch is a diver watch, they might even recommend 1 to 2 years, especially for the water resistance and the gasket. But keep in mind, that's what the manufacturer recommends. It's not uncommon to see people wait like 10 to 15 plus years until they get their first service, because most people will wait until there's an issue with their watch rather than following the recommended guideline from the manufacturers. And some people wait 10 to 15 years and they're totally fine, just as long as like there's no major issue with your watch, like there's no dust getting inside your watch or there's no visible issue that you already see that you should get fixed, you're just not doing it. It really depends on how often your watch is running. And notice how I said watch is running and not how often you're wearing it, because some people can place their watch on a watch winder and that's going to simulate you wearing it every day as well. If you're wearing or you're having your watch running every day, that's going to be a lot different than the person that just picks up and wears their watch every once in a while. So if your watch is constantly going to work, I would lean on the earlier side of the spectrum. Maybe 5 years is when you should get a service. If you're someone who wears your watch every once in a while for a special occasion, or you can't even remember the last time you wore your mechanical or automatic watch, then I would lean on the later side of this scale, maybe around 8 years or right before your warranty expires. That way you can extend it. This kind of person probably may wait until their warranty just completely expires or forget ultimately that they need to send it in. But it is like a double-edged sword, because if you don't wear your watches or have it run every once in a while, eventually the oils can also dry up. But if you overwear it, overuse it every day for several years, you're also eventually going to need a service. So the key is to have balance between those options. And just like you would with your car, if it's sitting idle, let it run every once in a while. That way you're getting the best use out of the movement and it's not sitting there doing nothing. But my advice is, if you are buying a new watch and let's say you get a new Cartier and they give you an extended warranty of 8 years like we do in our store, then I would wait towards like the 6th to 7th year to send it in for service, because then you're in that window where the manufacturer recommends it and you're still under warranty. So most of the time you won't have to pay out of pocket for the actual service. And after your service is done, a lot of time these watch manufacturers will give you an extended after service guarantee, which can be anywhere from 12 months to 24 months. If you have an 8-year warranty, that could be extended to a 9 or a 10-year warranty if you send it in at the right time and come back with an extended warranty after that. That would be the best bang for your buck, especially if buying brand new. And for the most part, you can check out how much a service should cost you if you go to a brand's website and just type it in, or if you go to their boutique and ask them directly, like, how much would it cost today to get a watch service? Which collaboration was better, the Blancpain 50 Fathom Swatch or the Omega MoonSwatch? Definitely in terms of popularity and sales, the Omega MoonSwatch. First off, it was the first collaboration that Swatch did internally with their own Swatch Group brands, so that was like the biggest noise of it. On top of that, a lot of people already are familiar with the Omega Speedmaster. Even people who don't know much about watches have heard of the brand Omega, because they're among the top 3 watch brands in the entire world. Now for Blancpain, they're a lot more of a classical, traditional watch manufacturer, so using Swatch as a collaboration was a good marketing vehicle for them. But I think the average price point for Blancpain is quite high. I mean, it's definitely over $10,000, whereas Omega, you can start around $4,000. So it's a big difference. If you also look at the price points, like the Omega MoonSwatch was $260, where the Blancpain 50 Fathom Swatch was $400. So there's a little price difference there. And when both watches initially came out, you can check them up online and you can see that the MoonSwatch was going crazy, like $500 to $1,000 to $2,000. I'm not sure if people actually bought them at those prices, but it was going really crazy. And with the Blancpain Swatch, you can see it was a lot more tame. I don't think I've seen that many examples like over $800. And for the Blancpain Swatch, the other thing is, because it's $400 and it's an automatic watch, it's now directly competing with watch brands like Hamilton, which is also in the Swatch Group, maybe even Tissot, and definitely competing with Seiko. I mean, Seiko makes tons of diver watches under $500 as well. But what I will say was nice about the Blancpain collection was that, you know, when it comes to the Omega Speedmaster, they have so many different limited edition versions. So it's not hard for us to imagine like the Alaska Project version or like the cool Neptune color. You know, those are things we can see Omega actually doing. Whereas Blancpain, when they do 50 Fathom limited editions, they're pretty tame. Like they're just like a new dial color or just like some different size, but they don't really do like a full yellow case or like a full blue case. So I think Blancpain did a better job of like exploring what a fun Blancpain 50 Fathoms could be. Would you rather have a gold JLC Reverso or a gold Tank Louis Cartier? Definitely the gold Tank Louis Cartier. If you just want a nice yellow gold dress watch or rose gold dress watch, I think the Cartier Tank is going to check off a lot of boxes. Plus, when people talk about rectangular case shapes, both the Reverso and the Tank are always mentioned. I recently even posted a yellow gold Tank Louis Cartier on my Instagram, and that's one of my favorite versions. Yellow gold case, gray alligator strap. It's exactly what I would have normally already done. And I like that they already put it together, so it makes it easy. Now, the only thing is I do wish Cartier Tank had more mechanical winding versions, because that's something that you'll get more exclusively with JLC. You can get more mechanical movements, you can get more complications. Keep in mind, that will definitely also be for 2 to 3 times the price anyways. Unless you're like really thinking about a dual face complication or a chronograph or a calendar complication, then the JLC Reverso makes sense. Otherwise, if you just want a nice dress watch in a rectangular case shape in solid gold, Cartier Tank all the way. How can you stop the urge of getting a new watch? After this video, go outside and do something non-watch related, take some deep breaths and enjoy the fresh air, and hopefully that'll ease your mind for a few moments. But jokes aside, if let's say you're about to buy your first watch or you're buying a watch for a special occasion like a wedding, then I think you probably should just get a watch because you already have like a set plan and vision for it. But if you already have like a nice decent collection, you have several watches and you're just like buying a watch and then still urging a new watch, then what I would try instead is try changing the strap or the bracelet on your existing watches. Because a lot of times, for me personally, when I change out the straps, it refreshes the look and then it kind of gets me excited to wear that watch again. And that's a way more cost-effective version than buying a whole new watch. And sometimes what we want in a new watch already exists in our collection if we just changed up a little strap or something here and there. It'll definitely be more cost-effective and it might hold you off for a new watch purchase for a while until you absolutely have like, okay, I definitely got to get this watch. Once you hit that point, then you know like, okay, it's a good time to buy something. What was your first automatic watch? My first automatic watch was the Omega Seamaster Professional 40th anniversary of James Bond, basically the GoldenEye era. And I was really young when my parents bought it, but they didn't gift it to me until I turned 18, so right before I went to college. But then throughout college, I never wore it. I left it at home with my parents because I was worried. I was in a dorm room and I was scared someone would I might lose it or someone might take it. I didn't want to have that responsibility. So I didn't really wear it till I turned like 21, but I had watches before that, but they were not automatic. Like I grew up with an Accutron watch. I had Swatch watches. I had a Tissot Solar T-Touch watch, which I wore a lot too. So I had different watches, but my first automatic was definitely this Omega, and I didn't wear it till I turned 21. And it's funny because it doesn't look like a 20-year-old watch because the Seamaster Professional line, or what we know today as the Seamaster Diver 300 line, it pretty much retains the same kind of design elements from the helium escape valve, from the scallop bezel, and also the wave dials and the bracelet. But I actually got tired of my bracelet on my Seamaster Professional, so I changed it to a Milanese mesh bracelet. So now it kind of like pays homage to the new 60th anniversary Seamaster of James Bond, and I find that I actually enjoy wearing it more now on this new bracelet. What's your thought process on selecting a new timepiece when you have several? So I think a lot of people will open up their watch box, take a look at everything and say, hey, I got like blue dials, black dials, white dials. Now I need like a purple or red or something new here. I used to do that, but recently what I've been doing for the last few years is I have an Excel sheet and I list out all of my collection. I put photos, I put the reference, the serial number, when I bought it, if it's ever been serviced, when I serviced it. I also write out what I like about it, the case dimensions, and things that I don't like about it as well. Even the things in my own collection, I'll write like my pros and cons. Then underneath that, I'll have a wish list section and I'll basically put the watches I'm looking to buy. So that would help me decide on a new watch. And this part is crucial because on the wish list part, I'll list out all the things I like and then I'll also list the things I don't like. And And usually what will come down to a decision is either it's too expensive, like I shouldn't buy something like this, or I'll even put like the question, will I wear this more than X, Y, and Z watch in my collection? So if I'm looking at a blue dial watch and I already have 3 in my collection, I'll literally ask myself, will I wear this watch more than the existing blue dial watch I have in my collection? And if the answer is no, then I should not get this watch. Like, it's already a very clear answer. On top of that, some things like everything might be perfect except one little feature, and that could be like, I don't like the helium escape valve, or the watch wears too big for me, or I don't like that it only has a 40-hour power reserve. These are all really important to keep in mind too. So on my Excel sheet after wish list, I have another section called no longer considered. And no longer considered is so I remind myself over time. Like throughout the year, we'll look at a bunch of watches and I'll go back to a few watches like, how come I never bought this? Like I've been thinking about it, and I'll literally see there is no longer considered, and I'll list out my reasons why. And that way it keeps me logical when making a watch purchase, because I know when it comes to watches and luxury in general, it can be very emotional. You see something you like and man, I just gotta have it, right? But not a lot of us have infinite funds, so we have to be a lot more careful and be more particular. And then also on this Excel sheet, I also put the watches I sold, and then I also list why I sold it, obviously along with how much I sold it for and whatever. But that way it also keeps in mind that I don't rebuy something that's basically the same thing that I just sold. Like if I went through the trouble of selling something out of my collection, there's probably a reason why, and I'll list it down. That way when I look at new watches to buy, I'll like, oh, but I don't want that watch because I sold something that I had that was very similar to that one, so I'm probably not gonna like this one. So no longer considered. Sorry, that's a really long answer to something that sounds like a small, simple question, but that's what helps me a lot. And if you guys are interested, I'll make this Excel sheet public so you can like put in your own collection, and it'll just be like an easy way to follow your progress and like when to buy or how to buy something in the future. What are your thoughts on the Cartier Tank Basculante? I honestly love the Cartier Tank Basculante. I don't have one in my collection. I was looking for one a while back, especially when I was considering it against the JLC Reverso, since they're both flipping watches, just the JLC flips horizontally while the Cartier Tank flips vertically. Some people say that the Tank Basculante flips vertically because you can prop it up on your desk like a desk clock. If I were to get a Cartier Tank Basculante, I would definitely look for like the precious metal versions like yellow gold. And I've seen some versions, I don't know the reference off the top of my head, but some have like the sapphire crystal case back so you can see the movements. I think that's really cool and unique for Cartier because you can see most of their watches have solid case backs anyways. But if Cartier were to revamp it in a upcoming Privé collection, I would be super interested to see a Cartier Tank Basculante skeleton. I think that would be so cool to see like the front of the watch and then you can flip it over and see the back of the watch. I think that'd be really cool. And skeleton watches is pretty common theme in Cartier high watchmaking, so I don't think that it's too wild of a ask from the brand. What watch of mine gets the least wrist time? Today, that would be my IWC Portugueser chronograph. So that was a watch I received from my parents again when I graduated college. I graduated from Penn State University, and the school colors are blue and white. And so the Portugueser chronograph I have is also white dial with blue accents. And I wore it religiously like right after I graduated college. After like I would say 2016 when I joined Carrot & Co. and I started really studying watches and studying my own taste, I realized that I like watches are in like a 38 to 39 millimeter case. The Portugueser is 41 millimeters for reference. And also when it comes to chronographs, I mentioned before, but like I have like a pet peeve. I want my chronograph to count over 1 hour because I like to use my chronograph to time like road trips or like taking a flight somewhere, and usually those take over an hour. But if my chronograph can only count under an hour, like a dive bezel, then it's kind of hard for me to use it for those instances. I mean, I'm saying that as I'm wearing my Zenith El Primero, and the whole reason I got this is, I like that the chronograph can count over 12 hours, and I've always wanted El Primero in my collection. But because the IWC was a gift that my parents gave to me, it's a watch that I'll never let go of. It's very sentimental to me, and I think maybe I just need a strap change. Maybe I just need to do exactly what I just mentioned earlier a few questions back. Change out the strap, and I'll like it again. Stay tuned for that. What's the best dress watch under $5,000? So off the top of my head, I would definitely look at Longines for their master collection, their flagship, and even like their sector dial or their black tie or tuxedo dials. I think there's a lot of range there. Really nice dress watches in mechanical and automatic. I would also look at Cartier. Look at the Cartier Tank Must and also the Santos Dumont in quartz. Those are both under $5,000. Cartier Tank is already like one of the most recognized watches in the world, and you can get it for like a kind of entry level level luxury watch range under $5,000. And then I would also go for Grand Seiko's SBGW series. They have a lot of mechanical winding watches in their 9S movement, and they do different dial colors, different bracelets and straps. And I would definitely try these on to see like how they fit on your wrist, because they do a little bit more compact sizes like 37 and 40 millimeters. So try those out, and I think you'll have a good selection of dress watches under $5,000. All right, and the last question, probably one of the most fun questions. What's your 3-watch collection now? I'm guessing Reverso, Santos, and Speedmaster. That's a good guess, but in my collection, like I mentioned with the Excel sheet, I'm definitely over like 20 watches. What I usually do is I'll segment my collection into rotations out of 3 watches. So even though I don't religiously follow a 3-watch collection, I think I love the idea of it, because you can get 3 watches and you'll be set. You would never have to buy another watch if you hit all your situations correctly. In the past years, I did something like Cartier Santos, Speedmaster, and Tudor Blancpain 58 Silver Edition. But this year, I bought new watches, and now I have a new rotation. So the first watch is the watch on my wrist. It's the Zenith Chronomaster Original for the Collective Edition. It's a 38mm case, no date, has white and gray tones, mostly brush finish. I like that there's blue lume. It's my first El Primero chronograph. I was really happy because I've always wanted an El Primero, and I like that it's a 38mm size, which is pretty hard to find compact chronographs, and it can count over 12 hours. And this series of Chronomaster Originals still had 100-meter water resistance. So even though I don't really plan to take it in the water, I just like that it has it, so I feel a little bit safer with exposing this to water if I had to. The next watch is the Seiko SJE093. I feel like I've talked about this watch so much, but it was basically the one Seiko to rule them all. It was a one Seiko, I'll never need another Seiko, and it's been like my go-to weekend watch. I love the gray dial. I love the 62 MAS style, how it's Seiko's first watch, and the new sizing of 38mm. It's a strap monster, wears really well, and it also has a 19mm lug width just like my Zenith, so it makes it really easy if I need to swap out straps between those 2 watches. And my third watch is the JLC Reverso Dual Face Medium Classic. That's the latest watch I added to my collection. That would be my go-to dress watch. I also like that on the flip side, there's a dual face GMT function, so I get a little complication out of there, because usually dress watches are just time only and they look kind of simple. I like that this has that added feature in there, and so I get to like hit different metrics because I have a chronograph. I feel like the Zenith is something I'll wear day to day because it's pretty easy casually. Then the Seiko is definitely my go-to like weekend watch. I love wearing it, bringing it for adventures like camping, swimming, hiking, all that kind of stuff. And then the JLC is perfect like when I'm traveling or need to do dress occasions like a wedding or business meeting. Then that's like the perfect watch for me. And all 3 of them have a 19mm lug width, so it makes it really easy for me to just switch and swap out the straps to change out the look. And I like that they're all like silver or gray dials, so they're really easy to match. I feel like personally I get tired of color dials like green and blues pretty easily, but like when it comes to a silver or gray dial or white dial, I just change out the strap and it changes the entire look for me, and so I don't get tired of it. But anyways, thanks so much for watching this video and submitting your questions. If you guys really like this style of video, I'll do more in the future, and I hope everyone has happy holidays and happy new year. I'll see you in 2024. Thanks again for all your support this year. It means the world to me, and let's just keep it going. Let's just keep this watch collecting, watch buying, and let's just keep having fun with watches. Anyways, thanks again. Bye.